Hello everybody. So version 26 rolled out recently, and we have not had a shortage of YouTube videos with the patch notes of the new gameplay footage and the new game mechanics and the general overview of everything. So I'm not gonna make another general overview video of the version 26, but instead I'm gonna take something a little bit more specific and take a deeper dive into it. So I'm looking at the project funding module, the first of the new modules that we're getting here. I am going to make a couple of tests with it, and I'm going to answer some of the most common questions that people have been having about the project funding module. And I'm also going to give you a simple and practical way of micromanaging your project funding so that you know how to get the maximum out of it for your current build. Hey everybody, and welcome back. So it has been about a week since I recorded the introduction of this video that you just saw, and I just not have been lucky enough to pull a project funding module. But in order to test the project funding module, we're actually gonna need a project funding module, right? But luckily, we have 800 gems, and the fact that you're watching this video right now means that I'm gonna get the project funding module, because otherwise I wouldn't even upload it. So here we go, we have 4 10 pulls. 1, oh yeah, there we go. But let's finish the pulls. Alrighty, 2. There we go, boy. Ooh, 3. So I've pulled about over 100 modules for sure, probably close to 150, and haven't gotten any, and now 2 pulls right next to each other. 3 and 4. Oh boy. The first question some people have been having on the Discord is, can the project funding module make your damage worse with lower digits? So we're going to test it out. And why people think that is because if you look at the description, your tower damage is multiplied by 12.5% of the number of digits in your current cache. And if you have, let's say, 3 digits of cache at the very beginning of the wave, 3 digits multiplied by 12.5 is 37.5%. So are you gonna have 37.5% of your overall damage that you will otherwise have, or is this the additional damage that you're gonna get? Are you gonna have 137.5 damage actually? So we're unequipping modules from the core slot, going for a run. You can see here I have 3 digits of cache with 27 million damage. Now we're going out, we're equipping a project funding module, going to the battle. As you can see, with 3 digits we have 34 million damage. So it seems that no, you cannot make your damage worse with project funding module. The next question that people have with a project funding module is, how do you balance it mid-run? And what I mean by that is, let's say that you're going into your tournament run and you start accumulating cash, but you also want to use that cash to purchase workshop damage. So how much money should you save up to boost the project funding module damage, and how much money you should spend on your workshop damage? Or when should you start saving up money for your project funding module to maximize its power at the later waves when you're closer to death? So how to find that out? First, I'm just gonna run a tournament run with my regular setup that I've been running before, and I will skip to the end to the data. So it's wave 722 in the first tournament run without the project funding module, and we just lost second wind, so we're probably gonna die pretty soon. What we want to notice here is the level of damage that we have, pretty close to the death, so that we can later know how much levels of damage did we gain during the run. I'm gonna skip this run to the end. So we died at wave 724. What we want to know from the round stats here is the cash earned. You can make a screenshot of it or you can write it down somewhere. I took a screenshot. So next we will go to the Excel spreadsheet and we will write down the numbers that we just got. My starting damage level was 4,000 and we got it up to close to 5,000. I'm just gonna round the number for simplicity's sake. And the amount of levels that I got mid-run was 1,000. I'm gonna need this number a little bit later for comparison, how much less levels I'm getting with the project funding due to saving up some cash. So I will know how much damage I lost from the base workshop damage multiplier. And the amount of cash, 84 millions, makes it pretty easy for us to pick a target. Now, when we're picking a target for the project funding module, here we have the different targets. And in this case, if we have 84 million cash, we cannot reach the 100 million mark anyway. So the choices are like 1 million or 10 million probably. And if we're taking 10 million cash away from 84 million, means that we will have 74 million cash for the workshop damage. We will need to save 10. It sounds very reasonable because those 10 millions cash would be for the most expensive levels anyway, and we're not losing out on many workshop damage levels. So our target is 10 millions cash, and if we have legendary project funding, it gives 2% or 2x boost, which is essentially +1, and then we're expecting a 3 times damage increase, minus the damage we're losing from having less workshop damage levels. Now, depending on the amount of cash you're getting through the run, might make it more easier or more difficult to pick the target for the project funding. I'm going to cover several more difficult scenarios later in the video. So now we are in our second tournament run, this one with the project funding module. And if our goal is to save 10 million cash for the project funding module, it doesn't make sense to save the cash at the beginning of the run. Instead, what we're going to be doing, we're going to purchase levels as we used to and do it until our cash earned gets close to 74 million, because then we know that we're expecting to get at least 10 more million to get to the wave that we were before. So we're halfway through the second run here, and I just made a discovery. The way I assumed project funding works was wrong. In fact, I was expecting that I would get a jump in damage every time I get a new digit to my cash. But how it actually works is that from going one digit to the next digit, you keep getting the multiplier increase steadily. So as you look at my damage right now, 1.4, 1.41, 1.42, as I keep getting the cash, I keep getting damage multiplier. Now the milestones of 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, 1 billion cash, etc. should be accurate in terms of the multiplier you would be getting. But the formula is logarithmic, so you will get the exact multiplier you would be getting even halfway through or 1/3 through from one multiplier or one level of digits to another, which makes it even better. But while it makes it better, it also makes the calculation much more difficult, because maybe the sweet spot is not at exactly 10 million, 100 million, 1 million, 10 billion, whatever, but maybe the balance point of the optimal cash saved is somewhere in the middle. But I will finish this run, see how I will do, and I will try to find a way to get even a better and more accurate way of finding how much cash to save. Alrighty, we're back here sitting in wave 614, and we have 74 million cash earned, which was the initial goal, to start saving cash after that. So we're gonna to the last purchase of damage right here, and we need to make sure that the damage purchase multiplier is set to 1 after this, just in case we're accidentally purchasing some damage. We don't want to spend all the cash that we have for it because we want to save up some cash. And we're gonna wait until we have 10 million cash saved. So we're back here in wave 673, and we have reached above the 10 million cash threshold. And what was the initial plan was to start purchasing damage again, level by level, to keep my cash exactly 10 million or higher. So let's keep on doing that. I'm gonna punch a few levels into the cash here. So what we see happening here when I purchase a level, look at my damage, 1837 by 1, and it drops to 1835. By 1, 37 drops to 33. So it takes a moment to update the project funding damage bonus. And as we see, the money that I spend on damage loses more from project funding than I gain from the actual damage, which reveals the new strategy for me how to find the balance point. Simply keep on earning cash, and every once in a while, maybe currently every 5 or 10 million cash, try to pop one more into damage and see if your overall damage goes up. If your overall damage goes up, you may want to buy a few damage levels and bring the overall cash level down. And if your damage actually goes down, it means that you should probably get more cash because you'll get more benefit from the project funding. But there is a sweet spot somewhere because gathering cash for project funding has diminishing returns. Alright, welcome back. We're sitting at 20 million cash, and I want to know if we're closer to the balance point. So if you look at the damage, I got 19.29 billion. Tap 1, 1931, wait for it to update from 1928. Alright, it went down just a little bit, but it didn't go down much, so we're definitely closer to the balance point by now. Let's wait until we have 30 million cash. Hey, welcome back. So we are here at wave 755, and we're getting close to 30 million cash. We're gonna try if we're closer to the balance point by now. So we have 20.25 billion damage. We're gonna do 20.27, wait a second, and drops to 20.26. So purchasing damage was net positive, which means the balance point of optimal cash is somewhere between 20 to 30 million. I would expect that closer to 25 million to 28 million, something like that. So I'm gonna keep that in mind, and the next time I'm gonna run a tournament, that's where I expect the balance point to be. So I'm gonna start saving cash at the optimal time to have this amount of cash left by the time I reach the high waves. Hey, welcome back. I just died at wave 764, which is 40 levels, 40 wave increase from the previous run, and this is a new PB for me, so very successful. If you look at the stats, I earned cash worth of 111 million, and I found the sweet spot, the balance point of optimal saving for project funding to be right around the 26-27 million cash mark, which in this case is roughly around 1/4 of cash saved. Now, it turns out that it's much easier to find the balance point than I initially thought. I thought I was gonna have to do calculations and a lot of testing, but it's pretty easy. Purchase a level of damage, wait for a moment for it to go even, and see if your overall damage increases or decreases. So if the damage that you lose from project funding is greater than the damage you gain from purchasing a workshop damage level, then you should save more. And if it's net positive after you purchase it, then you should save a little bit less. And if it doesn't change, then you found the sweet spot. Jumping back to the Excel spreadsheet for a couple of final thoughts. So the starting damage level and finish damage level that we saved at the beginning, turns out that they're not mandatory for this, unless you want to do some calculations before you actually go into the run, but they're not very necessary in this case. If somebody's interested, the effective multiplier formula that you get from the project funding is here. I took it from the wiki and I tested it, and I did a copy of calculations in real time, and it seems to be accurate. And here is a couple of examples. What is the multiplier that you would be getting compared to the cash you would have? So if you have 1k cash, and this is with the legendary project funding. So if you have 1k cash, you would have 1.75, 10k is 2, 100k is 2.25, 1 million 2.5, 10 million cash saved 2.75, and some levels in between as well. I hope you liked the video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time.